I'm going to take this Dino Friends collection and use it up and get at least 50 cards. How do I know? Because I've done some planning. So stay around and I'll show you what I've got in mind. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. I want to use this Dino Friends collection up. I thought it would be great for cards for cubs. I did the Mermaid Let's Be Mermaids collection already for cards for cubs, and I wanted to get like some boy themed cards made, and so I wanted to use this up, but I'm running out of time. Like I had hoped to get to it before now, but I'm running out of time. Cards have to be submitted in March, and we're already in the second half of March. So I decided I wanted to be strategic about using this collection up. So I will share the whole process with you, but this is going to be different than what I've done before because I have done some pre-planning, and I have done pre-planning before, but this time I have like done some pretty strategic pre-planning. So there are 12 sheets in this collection, including the back side. There's one sheet of the 3x4 cut aparts, which is on the back side of the cover sheet. So I'm going to come back to those. But what I did is I went through my templates from Jesscrafts and picked ones that I thought would work really well. I had a couple things that I was looking for because this paper, it's not a true white, and there's, I don't want to say grunge, I don't know, but it's not a true white, and so I am, again, to save time, going to be using white card bases, and so that I didn't have to pull in a bunch of extra cardstock for mats. I didn't want a ton of white space showing on the cards. And so one of the things I was looking for when I was going through her templates was ones that would cover the full card front or the majority of the card front. I don't mind having a border, like I don't mind a little bit of white showing. It just kind of helps those colors pop, but I didn't want there to be a whole lot of bright white with this kind of off-white, dirty. It's not even, to me, it's not really even, it's more of like a dirty off-white. If I'm making any sense. So what I did is I went through and pulled out some templates and then looked at them and thought, okay, like this is template number 8. If I take this cutting guide and cut 2 sheets using her cutting guide, that'll give me 8 cards, and I'll be able to mix and match so that they're not all, you know, even if I'm using the back sides of both those papers, by mixing and matching, I'm going to get 8 cards that are, you know, different, like they're not using the same papers. And then I'm going to pull in this one. It looks, I'm assuming that I'm going to need some matting because I have some bold colors, bold busy patterns overlaying on each other. And so there is one sheet in here where the B side is this craft. And so I thought I would use this for what I needed for the matting on. We'll see how far I get using this on the matting for each each sketch. So I figured out that if I'm using 2 sheets, it's going to give me 8 cards. And so I kind of noted that on each, crafted that, like, okay, 2 sheets, it's going to give me 8 cards. So I found my 2 sheets that worked for that sketch. Template 24, I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to do 2 different sheets, cut them down using her cutting guide, and then mix them and match them. So that's another 2 sheets down, and those are going to give me 12 cards. Template 25, I am going to also do 2 sheets. And this one, because it didn't meet my criteria, like based on how she's got the layout here because of the white space, I didn't really want that. But I am going to shift it. So I'm going to take this 4x4 panel up, and then this 4x2 panel, and shift it down so that they're still overlapping, but it's like, it's going to be like a 1/3, 2/3 kind of card. You'll see whenever I'm not doing a very good job at describing today. So that's going to use another 2 sheets and give me 12 cards. And then template number 2, I am going to use, it calls for cut aparts. I did end up having 6 cut aparts, but I wasn't sure or I think I'm going to use 6 of the cut aparts on the back of the cover sheet, but at the time I planned this, I wasn't sure how many I was going to use, because since all I have is the sticker sheet, I also didn't know if I would need any of these fussy cut as embellishments, so I decided to save this until last. But I figured if I take this sheet and cut 3x4 panels out of it, it's going to give me 12, essentially cut apart size panels, 3x4 size panels. And then I'm going to take these 2 sheets and cut as her template shows to be like the matting and the strip. So by doing that, that's using 3 sheets, and it's going to give me another 12 cards. So then we have this last sheet, which this is the B side. The A side are the 4x6 cut aparts, which I didn't plan on using. I might be able to use 1 or 2, but they were kind of geared more towards like family and journaling, so kind of more of the scrapbooking side. So I figured I could use the B side as card mats for some of these cut aparts, and for some of these bigger stickers I thought I could make some scenes. Now I don't know, I didn't really pre-plan the stickers so much. I'm going to use them for sentiments where I can, and I may have to pull in some stamp sets for sentiments as well. But I'm going to use them as sentiments where I can and pull them in to decorate the cards as I go, hopefully. But based on the planning that I had already done, I assumed I could get at least 6 cards out of here. If I cut these down to 4x5¼ mats, I'm going to get 6. And I can change orientation, so that's good. So there's 6. Template number 2 was going to give me 12, so that's 18. Template number 25 is going to give me another 12, so that's 30. Template 24 is going to give me another 12, that's 42. And then template number 8 is going to give me 8, so that's 50. And then anything else that I can get is gravy. It's been in my stash for a while, and I want to go ahead and use it, and I figured Cards for Cups is an excellent use for it. So let's get crafting. I did go ahead and cut down all of the pieces for each template just because that's pretty straightforward using the templates that Jesscrafts provides. So I went ahead and did that off camera, but we'll be assembling everything with you all. The video before I sped it up was about 2.5 hours, and that doesn't include my cutting time, when I cut down all of the 12x12s into the individual sketch pieces, nor does it include the time it took me to cut and fold my 50 card bases, or my pre-planning time. But I still think that I got it done in probably half a day. I did it over the course of 3 days, but I did little bits here and there whenever I could. But I think had I been able to work from start to finish, it still would have been done within half a day. Probably the planning was probably the most difficult. I mean, obviously, but the assembly, there was a lot to assemble, but it all went pretty fast. So anyway, I'm not going to be talking to the whole video, but I did want to point some things out, and I may pop in here and there to point some things out. I made some mistakes that I left in. I struggled with where to put things, or with embellishments. I think this process, I really like this process, and this was a great way to quickly and efficiently use up the pad. The only thing I would have maybe done differently is have some extra embellishments on hand. I didn't have really any other dinosaur embellishments or stamps. The only stamps that I had is an old one from Recollections. I think it's Recollections that I got from Michael's a long time ago. So that was really the only one I had. but I may have been able to go to Creative Fabrica and find some, digital embellishments that I could have cut out and used. But anyway, like that's something that I might consider going forward when I do this. And I also wanted to note that when I planned this, I planned it out to have like maximum efficiency of using up the collection. I did not plan to maximize the number of cards I could get out of this collection. Those are two totally different kind of strategies. I have in the past planned out a way to get the maximum number of cards. At this point, I needed to use up that collection. I needed the cards quickly, so I needed to do this, get through this quickly. But in the past, especially when money was tighter, I did do a lot of planning to get the maximum number of cards or projects out of the pads or collections that I was using. So that's just something important to know. Could I have gotten more cards out of this had I maybe used less paper on each card? Yes. But that would have also taken me longer. So it all depends on what stage you're in, what your goals are, and what you're trying to get out of it. So I still got 50 cards out of this collection that's been sitting in my stash. The collection was dated 2016 from Echo Park, and I'm pretty sure I got it in one of the first couple mystery warehouse boxes I got from them, so I'm guessing it was 2018. So it's been in my stash for almost 6 years, so it is time to use it up, put it to good use. One thing I want to note here, what I'm doing is on either side of that middle strip, once I laid that horizontal strip across the vertical one in the middle, there was like overhang on either side, and I didn't want it to like look droopy on either end. And so I had those leftover bits from the branding strip that I had when I trimmed off the patterned part of it, like the pattern previews from the branding strip. I had a bunch of those little pieces left, so I went through and cut each piece in half essentially, and then layered it up with another small piece, so that it was like double thickness, and then added it on to either end of that horizontal strip, and it fit perfect. And then it was pretty well balanced across the card. So a different type of efficiency. I was, making sure that I wasn't letting they were not even really scraps. They were just trash to me at that point, but I'm glad I found a way to use up the majority of them. So something else to keep in mind, look at even your trash pieces differently sometimes. So I did enjoy this process. After you watch the video, let me know what you think. Is it something that you would do or you have done in the past? Is it something you would be interested in? What if somebody were to have it all planned out for you, kind of like a template to use up a specific type of collection? Is that something you would be interested in doing? Because I think I would like to try and do this for different collections going forward, and maybe having different types of templates based on what the collection offers, like what kind of cut aparts, etc. So I don't know, just something I'm playing around with, but let me know your thoughts, what you think of it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine, but I do hope you get some good ideas out of it and enjoy the process. And one other thing I will say here real quick is one other way I attacked this was that not every card had to have a true sentiment. Like there was a sticker that said roar, and that's all it said. And I used that, if you consider the audience of who your card is going to, my thought was that there's some little boy who's going to be excited that there's dinosaurs on a card and that it says roar, and he's not going to care that it doesn't say hi or thinking of you. Like, he's just excited to get a cool card, something fun, and he can name the dinosaurs and maybe they're his favorite colors. So that's kind of where I was at. So there were some that I really didn't try hard to get an official sentiment on there. I was just trying to use the stickers, and there was one card that I did use that sticker that says roar means I love you and dinosaur. I'm not going to donate that one. I do have a 5-month-old nephew. I think he's 5 months, almost 5 months now. So I figured that is something I could save for a future birthday for him. So I will not donate that one, but all the rest of these will get donated to Cards for Cubs. All right, I am going to throw some music on and let you sit back and enjoy my process. As I'm finishing up these last cards, I just wanted to note that I did end up using some white cardstock throughout, I think mainly here at the end, but I just needed some separation of the dark colors or busy patterns, and I decided that I couldn't worry about whether or not the whites matched or contrasted well with the unwhites. I just decided to go with it. I did pull in an extra sheet of craft cardstock in early on to finish matting like that first template that I did, and then did use some scraps for sentiments and the little dinosaur stamps that I used here and there. So I think that the white cardstock and that craft cardstock were the only additional cardstock I brought in other than my card bases. I used every last scrap. I didn't have anything left over. I was scrounging to find things to put on the insides of the cards. I'll show you here in a bit the pile of scraps that I had left, and I'm starting to put those on. I show you putting scraps on the inside of a card. I do go through and do the rest of the 50 as well. I ended up pulling in some remaining small stickers that were left on the sticker sheet. I used some of those high little die cut sentiments that I used here and there throughout. I pulled some of those in on the inside, especially for ones that maybe didn't have a true sentiment on the front. So I used up all the sticker sheet. I used up all of the paper. So all of these will paper anyway. So I felt pretty good about definitely getting maximum usage of this collection. So I hope you have enjoyed this process. Again, I would like to know your thoughts on the planning aspect, I guess the planning and the execution of it, if it is something that you enjoy, or what you would be looking for. Would you be looking more for maximum projects or maximum efficiency of using up the collection or pad or whatever? Just trying to pick everyone's brain and get some ideas for going forward. But I thank you guys so very much for your time today, and I hope you all have a very crafty day.